guys, thanks for checking out my channel, Mavericks Arcade. My name is Chuck, and today we're going to be installing the Super Nintendo emulator onto the arcade. Now, those who have been following know my arcade kind of suffered a hard drive issue before. Actually, no, that was my server. My arcade, I replaced the guts. And in doing so, I decided it was a good time to reorganize and reinstall all the emulators. We are almost done and back to the position I was at before this all got upgraded. So I know these videos have been a little repetitive. I promise changes coming soon. I'm also going to be working on some new graphics for the site. I've been playing a little bit with Blender a little more. We'll get to say goodbye to these mountains. For those who do not know, these mountains were actually inspired by the old TV show Mask, the old cartoon. I loved that cartoon, and it was kind of like Transformers mixed with amazing cars. It was amazing. If you haven't had a chance to see it before, you may be a little too old for it, check out Mask. It's on YouTube all over the place. So these mountains will be going bye-bye soon. Another thing that we're going to be adding to this show is the user submission. And right now I only have 2 pictures of this person's arcade, but we're going to switch over. And it is from Kenneth Daldrick, Sr. He sent me 2 pictures. This is the backside. This machine is powered by, I know I keep saying I'm working on that too. Just bear with me. His machine is all acrylic. Now, if you've seen my building the cabinet videos, you can see I had a lot of issues with acrylic. So when I see this person's machine, I'm just like, it's giving me a little bit of chills. I can't imagine how many times I would have broken pieces to this thing, but it's a beautiful system. Everything is very well organized inside it. He's got even a little amp for the speakers up on top. It's a Raspberry Pi system, which again, we've not messed with Raspberry Pi here much, but I have 2 devices I'm going to be working on in the very near future to get a little more familiar with the Pi architecture and the applications for the Pi, so I can assist more with that. But this is a beautiful arcade. This is again the backside view. And then on the side view, let me go to the next picture. I'll zoom in a little bit here. So you can see he's got some nice etching there with the bomb guy, a couple of other Nintendo characters, and of course it's very Super Mario themed. On the front he's got, I believe he said the buttons are light up. They're not RGB, they're red buttons, but he's got a nice joystick. It's a single player system. Very clean. It's a very clean system. I know he's working on doing a marquee for it right now. It looks like it's got kind of like tape up there or something. But it's a beautiful system. And again, if you want to have your video arcade featured, please send me an email to mavericksarcade@gmail.com with a bunch of pictures. Again, try to get the front, side, and all that. And a little story, a real quick, 1 paragraph thing about your arcade, your favorite game, what inspired you to build yours, and so forth. And I would love to feature you on a future episode. So again, thank you, Kenneth Daldrick, for sending in those pictures. I do appreciate it. And back to the setting up the SNES. Now I'm going to cut over again a little bit larger screen, make it a little easier for everybody to see. That's the button I want. Correction, that's not the button I want. So again, we got a view of my arcade here. I have already moved over the ROMs. So on the ROMs drive, you can see I have a folder for SNES. Didn't know why the click wasn't registering, but here's all my ROMs. And now let me verify. Again, I used to use... let me look at the old drive to verify which one, if this is the same version I used to use. So you can see my old organization's all very messed up. So I used to use ZSNES W151, which is not what I'm using anymore. What I'm using now, or going to use, so let me go to the website. Again, this is through VPN service. Somebody had asked me which VPN, but they're not paying me, so I'm not saying. But any VPN service would be useful, just to hide your IP. So here's the Super Nintendo emulators. Now the picture they have here is, I believe, the more Japanese version. I don't mind having these little buttons, or maybe a later version. I think this is the Famicom they're showing, which is Japanese. So the one I used to use was SNES. Now that was one of the first one. It's highly accurate, but the problem with it, if you look at the story on here, is they haven't made an update for this thing since 2007, so it's considered obsolete. While it is still a great emulator, it is not getting any updates, so therefore we're not putting much stock in it. Now, the one we're switching to now is SNES9X. Now, I have not installed this one before, so I will be installing it with you right now for the first time. But the other ones have been simple enough where I'm pretty confident I'll be okay. So, the name of this one is 160. Now, one thing I really do like about this is it's got a 64-bit version. The old one was only 32-bit. This one is 64-bit, so anytime I'm getting the opportunity to upgrade to a 64-bit app instead of this 32-bit, I'm enjoying that. Now, one thing about this page that you'll also notice is there's another emulator that they mentioned called HiGAN. It is a more, it is even a more developed emulator, more inclusive, but it requires a faster computer. Also, looks like some of the issues could be a little more complicated with it, so I may cover it in a future episode, but for this episode, we're just going to focus on the SNES9X. But just in case anybody's asking, this one's specifically for SNES, which is why I'm installing this one. Now, this one, okay, so there's a 64, so we just take the files out, and we're going over to our emulators, and I'm going to create a folder for SNES. Now, previously, I would have just dumped the files right here. But again, I'm trying to be a little better organized because I may put other SNES emulators on in the future. So I'm trying to separate them out. So SNES9X, and we're going to put in the version. And now I'm going to dump the files in here. So we have the files up here. We have the ROMs on the other drive. Now, normally also in these videos, I've been researching controllers and putting those controllers up so everybody can see them, so you can more easily map the keys from the original style joystick to your new joystick. However, the two joysticks I have hanging off the side of my arcade are SNES clone joysticks. So the button labels and everything will be correct. I don't need an example to pull up to see that. So that's one good thing about this NES is my controllers are going to be emulated pretty well. So we're going to go ahead and close this, and we're going to open up the SNES application, and we're going to go over to the arcade and program the buttons. But let's first look here and see what options we can set at this level. So we go over to, let's look at the settings first. So the configuration file will be saved locally. Now it's asking where the ROMs directory is. So we're going to go ahead and browse to the D drive or E drive where I store all my ROMs, the ROMs folder, and SNES. So that one's been set. We're going to hit this drop down. We're going to look. Do we want to / means it's going to save it to this folder in a folder called screenshots. Now, these movies and things, I may want to go back after I set up my front end and kind of repoint those. But at this time, we're going to kind of leave everything at the defaults. We're going to let everything be saved underneath this folder. Now, the BIOS, I'm not sure if I'm going to have to install that or if it automatically will be okay. We will find that out in a moment. Super effects, pause when inactive. Yes. So if you select away, I want the emulator to pause. I don't want it to keep playing with it not highlighted. Custom ROM, open dialog, high-res AVI recording. Well, I'm not going to be doing any recording of my gameplay, so it's not necessary. And let's see, let's look and see if the sound settings are anything to change here. No, 48, mute audio, advanced mute. Nope, all that stuff looks good for that. Now the video. So we're going to look at display configuration. Here we go. So we do want to use Direct 3D. We're going to want to Maintain the aspect ratio. We're going to do... I don't want to show frame rate unless I'm actually specifically testing that. But we're going to do... Oh, cool. We can set the scan lines. We're going to want scan lines, definitely. Make it look a little more realistic. Now, we want to do a resolution of 1920 by 1080 at 32-bit using 60 hertz. And why the hell not? We'll enable triple buffering. Extend the height of the SNES image. Not sure if I need to display messages before applying filters. No. So VSync, I don't really care about. Okay, so we're not going to do full screen right now. When we're done with the emulator, we've put it in our front end. We definitely want the full screen to get the full effect. Now, we're going to have another episode covering net play as a whole. I've not tested that yet. So now we're going to do input configuration. Okay, so this will be configured, but I'm not looking for that option right at the moment. What I'm looking for is my hotkeys. So the pause button is already set, but we want to set the now the save states again. I'm going to be using my arcade buttons, and I guess while we're setting up this emulator, we'll go ahead and do that this time. I didn't do it previously, but I'm looking for escape may be the default exit key, but we're looking for, it's awesome that you can do rewind, but we're looking for exit. No turbo modes. Save slots, quit NES. I don't want that to be that. I want it to be not sure why that's not allowing me to set that command. Huh. Escape is not a viable option. My emulator may do it automatically for me. That's concerning to me because in all my other games, I'm able to hit escape and it closes it. We'll have to see if it actually, when I set up my front end, if that escape key issue or escape key not allowing me to enter that option there becomes an issue. We will find out. Anyway, so now those are the only other buttons I was concerned about. Now we're going to program the inputs. So let's go over to the arcade. All right, let's see here. Alexa, turn on gaming dishes.
Okay.
That should help. All right, so we're going to grab mouse and keyboard over here. And we're going to go to input configuration. And now, this is one fun problem, is I don't know which joystick is the one I'm trying to access. But on the side of the arcade, I have Velcroed these retro style any Super Nintendo controllers. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to hit this. I'm going to click this and try to hit the up button. And it actually did pick it up, so that's great. Now we're going to go left, down, right, B, A, Y, X, start, select, left, right. Now up left, up right, I'm not sure why you would need to select those there, so that's fine. Allow left, right, plus up, down. So this would allow you to do the conflicting keys. Like in some of our games, when you've actually specified them different, for example, say using joystick, you had left, right here. This is what allows you to override and say, I can hit both conflicting directions at the same time. We're not going to worry about that right now. There's nothing we're doing we're not worrying about hacking or anything right now. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK. That is our first controller input. Our Input configuration. Joypad 2 is this one here. So we're going to say for the second player, it is up, down. Whoop. Oh, up, left, down, right. B, A, Y, X. Start, select, left, right. And that's good for player 2. Now, the one thing I'm interested in, so it looks like actually what's happening here is we could set a player 3 and a 4. Oh, why not? Let's go ahead and do that. Wouldn't hurt anything. So up here we'll say up, left, down, right, B, A, X, Y, shoulders. Oh, I was wrong. And on this one I have the light on. That's right. So up, down, damn it. Sorry. Up, left, down, right, B, A, Y, X, start, select, left, right. That will be player 3. Player 4 will be the other PlayStation style controller. And with my other game, this was deselected with my other emulator. So I'm trying to make sure it stays consistent so that I can always tell my daughter, make sure the light's off on this one and on the other one. So I click here and I do up, left, down, right, B, A, Y, X, start, select, left, right. And that's it for that controller. Now the one thing I did say I was going to try with the next emulator was I'm changing the custom keys so that my save slots are up here on this side and my load slots will be over here. We're going to change this to that, 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 and that. And then over here, it'll be the same pattern. So what that means is, if I hit that to save it, it'll be this corresponding one to load it, which will allow some fun cheating. Now, we're going to go ahead and try to load a game. Let's try to load Donkey Kong Country competitive cartridge. Okay. So now we full screen this, and we're going to look. Now, the reason why we didn't get the title is this is a competitive cartridge, so it just jumps straight in. Again, the emulation looks pretty dang good. And yeah, everything seems to be working really well there. Now, when I hit escape... No, that went... Let's see. So that's the full screen mode. And when I hit escape right now, it's only bringing up this. So I will probably need to change, work on getting that key to work. But I do want to try one thing since we're right here. Let's go ahead and put that in full screen again. And now what we're going to do is we're going to test the pause button. Pause button is working. We're going to go over here. Okay, we're going to remember we're at this fat guy. We're going to hit save on that. And it does look like it's saved. And now we're going to load it. And you can see the load is working. So my save state using these buttons is kind of cool because I can do that. And it saves it. And if I screw up, I can reload on the other side. And obviously you can see my timer is resetting back. So the only downside is the escape isn't actually quitting the game. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get the emulator to quit when I hit escape. But that is a separate issue. Let me see. The net play is for doing network play. Super Scope, you can see there's some of the other options here. Use NES mouse. They did have that, actually, so. The only thing I'm not seeing on here, which is kind of annoying, is the hitting the escape key. Let's see. Yeah, so that's not the option that I'm looking for. I'm going to just need to find the yeah, I'm going to need to figure out how to cancel that. Anything sound? No, nothing. Alright, but as you can see, the emulator's working. It's just for me, because of my front end that I'm planning to install, that escape key is crucial. Otherwise, I may have to reassign the escape key and then set all my other emulators to use that new key as an escape option. In my previous emulator, using escape was perfectly fine. Again, my front end, I believe, might have a thing where it detects the escape and then it will kill the app. So we'll find out about that more next time. Let me load up one more emulator to make sure everything is working the way I want. A lot of people hated on Pilot Wings, but I actually love this game. And yeah, everything is working really well with it. One issue that Pilot Wings had originally when trying to be emulated was the original cartridge had a graphics accelerator on it. And some of the emulators in the beginning didn't emulate the graphics card. So therefore, the game wouldn't play correctly. It's funny, I thought this game was like so accurate and cool when I first played it as a kid. I'm trying to pull up. I'll try to pull up. Am I gliding right now instead of... Yeah. I got no engine. And I crash. Wow. Alright, I know. Suck. It's okay. We've already covered that. Oh, shut up, Mr. Man. So in any case, like I said, it's let's get well, my keyboard's over there. That's the problem. Anyway, problem is I still got the game loaded, so you're still having to hear the sound. Wireless keyboard mouse. Like I said, when I'm learning for the first time, these videos get a little bit more out of control, or a little less planned, a little more reactive. So in any case, that's the Super Nintendo emulator. Again, when you're downloading things, just have a VPN anyway. It's just good practice. Let me go back to the main scene. So again, like I said, we're doing the spotlight now. So if you have an arcade you want to show off, send a little blurb about what kind of inspired you, your favorite games, and some photos. Make sure to get photos from all different angles and kind of a quick little blurb about setting it up. Send that to mavericksarcade@gmail.com. Also, tell me what name you want me to use when presenting your arcade. Some people want to go by a nickname, whatever. Just let me know. And also, if you get a chance, check out my other, on Facebook, we have the Mavericks Arcade set up there. So make sure to like that page, and I will start posting some content there as far as like some live stream of me working on stuff along with the Twitch. One other thing to note, I'm not going to put the information up now, but another user had asked about, a couple users actually have asked about a Patreon account, whether or not I should set one up. And I've kind of been resisting it because I do this for free. I enjoy doing it. I know there were some issues with when I was setting up my arcade to find some information on the web regarding light guns and stuff. And I noticed there was a lot of good information in various pieces. But at least in the case of the light guns, they hadn't been brought together in one central space yet. So that's kind of what got me started. And then I realized, just kind of the way I sometimes describe things, make them a little easier for people to follow. And that's been useful. So I'm enjoying it. And again, it's not that I've, I'm not planning on making some major amounts of money on this or anything like that. That's not my goal. It would be a nice dream, yeah, of course, obviously, be like a little Linus wannabe, or Jay's 2 cents wannabe. And I have not fooling myself at all. That's all it will ever be, is a wannabe. situation, and I'm fine with that. But kind of what made me decide I'll go ahead and create it, and I'll have that information in the future videos, is because I've spent thousands of dollars on this, and I know a lot of guys have spent a lot as well. It's just that if people are saying, hey, we want to send you some money, why don't you have an account set up? It'd be stupid of me not to set it up. So again, I'm not going to try to hawk it all the time and stuff like that, but one of the best things you guys can do to support me is, again, share the word, get more people knowing about the channel, get more people subscribing to the channel, and that's the biggest help you guys can do. So I want to grow this channel and so forth, but I'm not going to ask everybody, hey, send me money. I'd rather build it naturally and have you share the word of what it is we're doing and setting up here, and kind of get your geeky friends involved and get more people making these arcades, especially with the new Raspberry Pi systems that are coming out. It's becoming a lot easier to do it. I'm kind of feeling like it's going to become a situation like where true game PC modders, got annoyed when like RGB kits started coming out, all the home water cooling kits started coming out, things that made what used to be a real difficult thing a lot easier. It's kind of a give and take. It's really cool that it's being made easier for people that aren't as technical, but people that are technical kind of feel like there are things being taken away. It's something that only they could do before, which made it really cool for them, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I digress. The key is that more people are getting into emulation, more people are starting to be interested in it, and I just definitely want share my stuff out, let everybody know. Again, enough self-promotional, enough begging. Yeah, send me your stuff. The next, I think we have, hold on one moment. Let me pull up. So like I said, I've been doing a lot of these videos, and I want to make sure to let you know how many more we got. I'm not going to redo the PS2 video. I'm going to just put that emulator back on, but we are going to do I'm going to do more videos. Nintendo 64. I'm going to be doing a video on the Game Boy. I'm going to be doing a video on the PlayStation. And then I'm going to be doing a video on pinball emulation. And lastly, a video on DOSBox. For those who aren't familiar, DOSBox is the way you can play. It's kind of away from the arcade, but it is still retro. So it's a way you can play your old favorite DOS games, like, in my case, Police Quest was one of my favorites. Leisure Suit Larry games, things that were DOS that the newer machines won't emulate. So you can actually run through DOS. The only sad thing is it actually slows your machine down enough to emulate true DOS that you have to wait for installs for like a couple of megabytes can take an hour. So that is one downside to DOSBox, is it truly emulates the DOS experience. So you'll be spending a lot of time installing very small things. But anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know all that information. Again, Super Nintendo, great system. More videos coming out. Please like, subscribe, share, all that other happy stuff. And we will see you again soon. And thanks again for watching. Thanks again for watching. If you haven't already, please click like on this video and subscribe to my channel for future updates. If you'd like to see more content, please check out the following locations. I primarily use YouTube to store the final versions of my how-to videos. Facebook is used for communication, including notices about upcoming videos, behind-the-scenes photos, and occasional live streams assisting users with their own systems. I also stream on Twitch while recording these videos so you can see behind the scenes, machine setup, and of course the occasional bloopers. Check out these channels and let me know what you guys think. And as always, thanks again for watching.